Alright, superstars on the board, get started. Let's. It's the same thing except we don't have an equal sign down there. We've got a greater than less than sign. But the steps so far are the same. You need to be trying these. Don't just sit there. Not gonna learn how to do it by sitting there doing nothing.
Well, do we get a point if somebody gets it right?
No, that's not what points are for. We didn't make, me and Miss Merritt didn't make a mistake. Start. Michael, start. Okay, start. Start.
I can't see that. Is that like what's that second number on the
Best you can. Well, there's a couple pencils over there in the basket. Anybody else with cell phones that need to turn in? Be careful right there. Last call on cell phones. Couple of y'all sitting there still with nothing on your papers. This is why y'all sit there on a test and don't know how to do anything. If you want something to change, you got to start now. You keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome. It doesn't work like that.
Have you put them on grades for that test in yet?
That's what's crashed. Okay.
You put it that way. I like to figure it out.
5 or 6 minutes to work. So the rest of them,
The only class that was
was, I'm assuming she had a smaller group that had.
they are becoming.
They were the only ones that were pretty much. The rest of them, nothing got finished. So I need to go over this, review another proper too.
Sounds good. All right, so we're missing Macmillan. And Emily, because that stays empty now.
You're going to get your chance to finish up that little 8-question quiz for a grade. In just a few minutes from Friday, and some of y'all are sitting there doing nothing. You're not gonna ask questions with that paper on your desk
Is it
now.
what we're doing?
Yep.
Us for preserving.
I done it.
Preserve.
Can you show what I'm doing?
You were not here Fridays? You'll start on yours.
Alright, let's check this. Number 1, error analysis. It says describe and correct the error made in solving the equation. So here is a problem somebody worked out. And they're telling you up front, they made an error. It's your job to find it. So, the first thing, if we started off with this part right here, the first thing we would have done is what?
Make your signs like you
Distribute. First thing I would do is distribute. Good, Gage. So, this is a negative 2. A negative 2 times x is negative 2x. They didn't do negative 2. They just left the subtraction there. That's fine. They did 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 4 is 8. They kept all of their subtractions in place. Okay? So, they got to this point. What would be the next step we would do?
Get X myself.
Combine like terms. I think I heard Latoria first on that one right there. Yes, combine like terms. Well,
Hush.
there was more than one person that said it. I said, I think I heard her first. Alright, so here we go. I got a positive 3 and a negative 2. What am I going to do with those? Different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the larger. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 is positive, so my x is positive. And then they brought down their minus 8. Okay? Now what would I do?
Solve. 8.
I've got a negative 8 on this side, or if I didn't do my keep change opposite right here, I have a subtract 8. I would add 8. Add 8. What do we get? So did they make an error, or did we make an error? Do I? Where did we make our error?
We didn't change subtract.
Okay, let's start over. Let's this time go ahead and do our keep change opposites. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. That's what they have. Negative 2 times negative 4 should be a positive 8. Positive 8. Negative times a negative is a positive. This right here should have been a positive 8. That's where the error was. Okay? Now, we again would combine our like terms and we would get x. This right here would have still been plus 8. To get rid of plus 8, we would have subtract 8. Then we have different signs, subtract again. 8 minus 5 is 3. The 8 is bigger, so it is negative. So it says describe and correct the error made in solving the problem. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8, not negative 8. So there's their mistake. Doesn't sound like too many of us caught that, because nobody caught it when we worked through it the first time.
Did we have it wrong?
Apparently not. Nobody corrected us when we got 13.
If we would have corrected you, we would have got point.
You would have gotten the point.
We got 5.
Alright, here we go. Number 2, what is the value of the v? So we're solving for v in this one. We have positive 8 and negative 9. What do we do with positive 8 and negative 9, Riley? You don't know, do you?
Subtract.
Pay attention. stupid, and I'm not a liar, so don't lie to me. Understand? Okay. So, I have a positive 8 and a negative 9. What do I do with that?
You gotta combine like.
Combine them. How am I going to combine them?
With different signs.
Different signs. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger. So 9 minus 8 is 1. The 9 is bigger and it's negative. So we have 3 plus negative v equals 21. I do have my negative on there. Now, how do I get rid of the 3? That's
you do
my
opposite.
next thing,
You
right?
opposite.
Do the opposite. It's a positive 3, so I need a negative 3. Got to do it to the other side. That leaves me with negative v is 18. But can I have a negative variable? No. Remember, we told you 2 ways to do this. We showed you the mathematical way, and we told you how it's going to work every single time. Does y'all remember how it works every single time? Okay, well let's look at it the mathematical way. What's in front of this v? A 1. How do I get rid of a negative? Well, first off, what is this side by side with no signs? Multiply. How do I get rid of multiplying a negative 1? Divide by a negative 1, divide by a negative 1. Those cancel. I'm left with v. 18 divided by negative 1 is negative 18. The quick way was, you do the opposite of v, you do the opposite of 18. So to go from a negative to a positive, over here you would go from a positive to a negative. You just swap them. So you would have gotten v. Questions? Okay? Just to review real quick to get your mind back on it again. I'm going to put 2 problems up here on the board for you to work.
Kenny, what is that?
Gage, I think you need to be paying attention, and I want to repeat it last week at all.
I'm just tired.
We're all tired.
I want to move back to a different period in the day. I really like math.
Alright, so here we go. Here's you a couple practice problems just to get your mind back thinking on what we were working on before you finish your paper for a grade. And again, you're not going to ask questions on this paper for a grade, so you need to get them out now. And there's not going to be a, I just don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I can't help you when that paper's out. Can't. So here we go. First thing you're going to do, you're going to find your number, your coefficient with your variable. What's our coefficient? 2. 6 is a constant. Coefficient is the number attached to the variable, because that's what we look at to determine whether we are going to preserve it or reverse it. Right? So my 2 is my m right here. Is it positive or is it negative?
Positive.
Positive, so we are going to preserve it, which means in the end, our sign is going to stay the same direction. It's not going to change. You've already seen your quiz, because you started it Friday, but you know the last 6 problems you have to identify, preserve or reverse. So, when we work now that I've got this taken care of, I solve it just like I was solving it with my equal signs. What do I want to get rid of first?
6.
The 6, the constant. How do I get rid of subtract 6?
Opposite.
Add 6. Well, if I add 6 to this side, I have to add 6 to this side. Sixes cancel. 18 plus 6, 24. 2m comes down. Now what do I get rid of? The 2. Go back to the problem. What are they doing to the 2 in the problem? Multiplying. How do I get rid of multiplying? Dividing. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Those cancel out. I've got my m by itself. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Some of y'all are still saying, Mr. Martin, I still don't know what that sign means. And I told you, think about it. If you don't remember how to read it, think about what you know about the open gator mouth and which side, which number it's always facing. The open gator mouth is always open to the bigger number, right? Y'all do remember that much. So that means this number has to be bigger than this number.
That means M is
So
greater than.
M is greater than 12. So that means any number bigger than 12 will fit right here and it will work. You also, for those of y'all that didn't do the first two, had 4 choices to choose from. It may have been 3, 11, 12, and 27. Of those 4 choices, which one would fit what that says? 27, because it's the only one greater than 12. The rest of these are less than 12. That's the only one greater than 12. So that's the only one that would fit. Questions on any of that one? Okay?
Yeah, well,
He shook it off. He raised his hand, but I looked at him and he said no. Alright, so this one. I told you, before we identify whether it's preserved or reversed, if it has distributive property, you always do what first? You always distribute first. So negative 3 times x, negative 3x, negative 3 times 3, negative 9. Now, let's identify our coefficient. Our coefficient is what's attached to the variable, and that is a negative 3. Anytime your coefficient is negative, you're going to do what? Reverse it. Which means, in the end, my x is going to be over here, but I'm switching this. I'm flipping it the other way. Go ahead and get that out of the way first, so you don't have to worry about it anymore, and solve the rest just like we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So what do I want to get rid of first?
Nine.
The negative 9. How do I get rid of a negative 9? A positive 9. These cancel. Different signs. Subtract. Keep the sign of the larger. 15 minus 9.
Negative 6.
6. 15 is bigger and it's negative. Negative 3x comes down.
Go divide by negative 3.
In the problem, 3 and x are doing what? Multiplying. So to get rid of it, we divide. Good gauge.
2 negative.
Those cancel. I've got my x. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 6 divided by 3 is 2. My signs I dealt with first, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And to interpret this, if you can't read it, use what you know about it. The open gator mouth is to the bigger number, which if the 2 is bigger, that means this has to be smaller. So x is less than 2. So that if you have choices, any number less than 2 will work. Sir?
Is that 8 plus test formula or 2? So
Sir.
we're taking.
And like combining terms, do you do the preserve or reverse thing after you combine the like terms?
So we get to retake it?
I hope you don't have to.
Do we get to retake it? I know how to do it, I can multiply about all that, I just forget to stay up.
So you need to be writing them down as we write them down. I told you that like 3 or 4 times, but you have yet to change.
Because I can't write them down and help you. Or do them.
That's like me saying, I'm going to push on this wall and try to open that door.
Oh my gosh, magic.
If
Look at it.
I keep pushing on this wall and that door doesn't open, does it make sense for me to keep pushing on this wall and expect that door to open?
no.
No, doing the same wrong thing over and over again, I'm not going to get a different outcome.
Can you I ain't doing wrong thing.
You're not writing anything down. You keep not writing anything down and have your grades changed. So if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, how can you expect a different outcome? So if you want your grades to change, you have to change how you do in class.
Are we gonna figure out?
I just don't want math first period because I really like math. I just don't like first period.
Once everybody finishes. All right, any last minute questions? Everybody's good? All right, everything off your desk. Everything off your desk for the principal.
I'll get you one to send to, okay?
If you finished and turned it in, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to you. You can look over it if you want to. If you're good with it after you've looked over it, you can turn it right back in again. Go pick that up. This is not the gym. I know you finished, but I just wanted to give you a chance to look over it. If you had scratch paper, you're getting your scratch paper back. If you want scratch paper, you might want to get it out. All right, hush, I've got test out.
All right,
Gauge.
test her out, close your mouths. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Be quiet. Gage. Channing.
No, there are no marks on it. It has not been started to be checked. You did not finish it the other day. This is your chance to finish it. If you weren't here Friday, we'll get you one so that you can get started. Today will probably be your last day to finish this. So don't just sit there and expect you're going to have time to finish it after today, because after this you will have had 2 class periods to work on it. And like I told you the other day, if you want to do all your work on your scratch paper and then write your answers on the paper, that's fine, but I need your scratch paper turned in with it.
Please make sure on 2 through 7 that you put either P to preserve or an R to reverse. Not just the answer. I want to make sure that you know about the preserving and reversing, because we're going to start putting them on number lines this week.
All right, who was out Friday that didn't get one? You got yours. Remember, on the top 2, it circle all that apply to your answer. Don't just circle numbers and not show us work. And on the bottom, you solve it out. And you tell us P for preserve and R for reverse. All right, I'm going to write for Jonathan so he can just tell me what he's doing.
Just do. I just printed off his answer. Just do a few. We could. See, I don't like that one. That one. That one. And that one. That's not that one. I shouldn't hear a mouth.
Can they use their adding and subtracting cheat sheet? Different signs of subtract, the multiplication rules, things like that. If you want to use, if you've got your little sheet that's got your adding and subtracting rules, your multiplying and dividing rules, you can get that out. Is positive is preserved. The number with the variable is negative is reversed. When y'all get finished, come turn them in up here with Miss Merritt. Get out something quietly to do.
What is it, Gage? We don't answer questions. Is it a generic question? Ma'am, is it just a basic generic question? We don't answer questions during their test.
I think it is.
Come in.
I read it these, just like, does it want answer or does it just want this?
Whatever, no, you work it out. And then anything that would work right here is what you circle. Maybe one answer, maybe two answers, maybe three answers, maybe none of them work.
That means that n is greater than or equal to.
Or equal to.
So it is greater than or equal to?
If it's got that line under it, is equal to yes.
No, but is that what it says?
Left hand makes a less than symbol.
So it's less than or equal to. Can you help me a little bit on this one, just a little bit?
I'll ask you a question. Where's the variable? All right, so we're not going on this side. What do we get rid of first? The one with the variable or the one without? All right, so which one doesn't have a variable? Top or the bottom?
The top and bottom one
Which one
don't.
doesn't have a variable?
It doesn't?
The top. This is all one term. This goes together. So on the top,
And the bottom.
the bottom. So you're gonna get rid of the bottom first. And you do the opposite, but you can. Shh.
That's not.
All right, you gotta do the opposite. Right now it's a -5. What's the opposite of -5?
This is dividing, right?
Why did you change this side here to that side? It's only the ones with the variable. Remember, that's a subtraction sign. The one that's with the variable is the one we do negative, reverse, positive, preserve. So when you put that through that M, that's a positive for M. Right? Y'all do the opposite, whatever it shows. I'm about to give some zeros because I should not hear any mouths. None. And I'm not even going to ask any questions. Gage?
Like all of them, do we like all the ones that need to be on reverse? We put them on M.
All of them need to put a P or an R. Miss Brandy. Thank you. Okay. Bye. Bye. Thanks. All right. Bye. Yes.
Both of your daughters have the same hair color. I just not noticed it right there.
Gage, do you really need a zero? No. Then close your mouth. Susanna, Ashley,
Do you preserve if it's...
I'm not telling you.
No, I'm asking, just listen. Is it preserved if the one was negative or positive? Please, just tell me.
I told you, think about it. There's a clue that I told you I would help you to always remember.
Oh yeah, preserve and positive, right there.
That's what you think.
I don't know, I can't be thinking, I gotta know.
Gage, that is something I'm testing you. So if I give you that answer, then why in the world am I asking you to know that for those last 6 problems? So I'm not gonna give you that answer because I'm testing you to see if you know that.
You're right.
But I told y'all how to remember it. Now go sit down. 'Cause we're gonna take it up in a minute. Well, then you need to sit down and learn.
We gonna take it a little bit.
Is there a clue you can help me? Can you tell me a clue? Will Mr. Martin tell me a clue?
No.
Can I ask him? I won't ask him. Mr. Martin. Preserve and reserve.
I told you no, Gage. That's what we're testing you over.
I know how to do it now.
Distracting everybody. Gage, push, last chance.
Stop.
Always do the opposite of the problem. What is the problem?
All right, well, here's the problem. When you took this 2 to this 1, why did it stay 1? And you showed that you knew what you were doing, you just didn't do it. Oh my God.
Mr. Martin, I can go get my book.
Can this be done next week on there's nobody here? Raise your hand if you still need just a few more minutes. Catherine, you didn't even answer number 7, baby. You did all the work and then you just stopped. I know you didn't have an answer. You got the symbol but no answer.
What you think it is?
And get this wrong, so which one did the other person's opinion?
This one.
Yes.
Since it's subtraction, but I made that negative, I want to
Ready to turn in? You gone over it?
He was finished. He was just double checking his. He was the only one that got finished Friday.
Put it back on my desk, please.
Who's our flex?
I have group 1.
We'll call them out here right before
If
we
you were,
leave.
if you had us last week.
We'll call them out right before you leave, so everybody can finish.
How does much mail? I guess if we're gonna have to spend this, at least make it worth your while. Can you find out anything?
I'll turn the fan on.
It was the funniest thing.
There's still talking and there shouldn't be. Almost done. Got 3 minutes.
You always say I can do stuff in 3 minutes. That's your motto.
Those of you still working, you got about 3 minutes. Just so you know for your flex, group 1 is gonna go to Merritt, group 2 is gonna go to Johnson, group 3 is gonna go to Dunlap, group 4 is going to McMillan, group 5 is going to Boykin.
When did you get one with American last
Now be quiet.
That was not permission to talk.
If you have chorus, you're going to the band room today during your connection. I just got a thing that says if you have chorus, you're going to the band room today.
Can we take it, right?
If you step to school.
Well, we know what we made, like when? Today?
I'm working on it. Y'all know tomorrow.
Hush, two people still have them on
If
the
I stay at
desk.
school tomorrow, can we take it?
You can.
Okay.
Johnson had group 1 last week, so you have me.
You got yours on your desk, make sure you turn it in before you leave.
The nurse will get a leave it. Should have asked her. Or she got
No, you didn't give me one.
Y'all please stay quiet. There are a few trying to finish up. Hayden, engage.
Hayden, slide over. Face your chair, baby.